Welcome, friends,
to the How To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Don't worry about it. We got you.
Hey, we're changing it up. We're your audio uncles. And with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge to build a great life.
After all, this is the only thing you get, and then it's the fucking grave. So just do what you can and don't be an asshole.
And we'll just do a show then.
All right.
Oh, what a day it is today, Uncle Mark.
Oh, Hosanna, the day of days.
Wow, you threw out a Hosanna. I wasn't expecting that.
Always expect Hosanna, baby. It's always coming at you.
Hey, look, we got a show coming up here, and I think a fine show it is.
I think it is a fine show. We covered some weird territory in this one.
Yeah.
So let's tell the folks what to expect.
Well, first you're gonna get a little. I love to go to the Bible, so for the Bible tells us so will tell us the story of Yeshua, but
Look,
not the one who changed his name to Jesus, though.
We're going to talk about prostitutes, so just stick around. It's yummy.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about matrimony, and I'm going to leave it at that because, wow, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, a holy institution indeed. And then we're going to chat a little bit. It's a how-to.
Yep.
That you're not going to want to miss this one because I think we came to some really good things. We're going to talk about what to do with your Shabbat.
That's right, and this one we're really hoping for some nice listener feedback because this is going to be a potluck of good ideas about how to do something with a day we all used to loathe.
Yes, indeed.
And just FYI, I am even more remote than I've been the past several episodes. I am in the wilds of the Canadian wilderness, so if there's some audio issues, we do apologize. Stick with us. That will end very, very quickly.
Uncle Mark is literally doing this broadcast from within the carcass of a bear.
I'm in a canoe, so join us. It's a great show.
Let's do it!
Uncle Dan.
Yes, sir.
We are a species that tells each other stories.
We love them.
Indeed. We tell each other stories sometimes for amusement, sometimes for other reasons. And I feel like the Bible stories fall under the for other reasons category.
They can. They certainly can. A lot of these Bible stories are we are told by them what likes these Bible stories that they are moral lessons, that they provide us with guidance,
yes,
that they give us a moral center. Right.
A compass, a lodestar.
What? So they say. I have not found this to be the case yet.
Well, we're searching. We haven't quit searching yet.
No.
So today we continue that search.
Yeah, absolutely. And I decided to go to, here's what I did. And this is what's funny to me because it's not like I Google. Here's what I don't do. I don't Google shittiest stories in the Bible and then find those. Today I Googled.
Well, because Google would break.
Right. Right. It's too much. It can't handle it.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much information.
But what I Googled was most important stories in the Bible. Because I knew for a fact that if I did the most important stories in the Bible, none of them would be okay. It's just how this Bible works.
Right. Most important stories in the Bible. Okay, I could hazard guesses all day. But
right. You could, but here's the one. So I clicked on one that I didn't actually really know, and I thought I'd just read it and see what was up.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know the story very much, and so I thought I would learn it.
Yes.
And the story is of Joshua. Joshua was a prophet. He came after Moses.
Yes.
And he became the leader of the Israelites after Moses got beamed up in the last in the previous books.
I feel like Joshua was pretty stabby.
Stabby, interesting. I didn't get to anything stabby.
Okay, I could be wrong. I know that Ben Carson believes he built the pyramids as granaries, but I thought he was stabby. But you're gonna teach us maybe about the pyramids part.
Well, no, we're gonna go. So we've left Egypt because Moses took everybody out of there, and we're in the wilderness, headed toward the promised land, where milk and honey will flow.
Right.
And that is, and that's our end destination. That's the end point. I don't know if we ever get there. It doesn't seem like there's such a place in the world where milk and honey would flow. How would you get that many lion carcasses to make honey just flow like that?
That's right. Also, that just sounds like a sticky, shitty mess. But
yeah,
I guess if you're stuck in a world where you can't eat weasel, milk and honey flowing sounds great.
Yeah, I guess that's the pinnacle of deliciousness. That's as good as it gets.
So tell me about Joshua.
So here's the dealio. Joshua has decided that he is going to invade.
Yeah.
He's supposed to invade all of the lands. The Lord is going to give the Israelites everything, which we're talking about so much space in this area. There is so much open space. They could just settle in a beautiful spot and live there forever happily. But it's not good enough. They have to go and take somebody else's shit. So that's what the goal of this is.
Yeah.
Now, Joshua has his eyes on Jericho. And Jericho apparently is a great city, lots of treasures there. They've amassed some wealth.
Sure.
And Joshua sends some spies to go get the lay of the land.
Sure. Okay, gotcha.
It's a special place. So he sends these spies out, and the spies go and stay with a hooker, a prostitute. And she's they as you do. I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And so
like Samson did. Yeah.
Absolutely. Samson totally did that. So Rahab is her name, or actually her official name in the book, because it's written out so many times, is Rahab the prostitute. And Rahab the prostitute houses them, and then word gets out that some Israelites, some strangers, are within the city walls, and the king's like, "Fuck, go, no, you figure out where they are." So they get Rahab, and they're like, Rahab, where are they? And Rahab shelters them. She hides them on her roof, covers them with wheat. Because that's the best hiding you can do.
Sure. Well, you work with what's at hand.
You do. So she says, "Oh, you just missed them. They just ran out the walls of the city. Get out there. You could probably catch them if you run quick." So off they go in Scooby-Doo style, and she saves the guys, and the guys are like, "Hey, you saved us. Great job. Thanks. What can we do for you?" And she's like, "Hey, we've all heard about your guy and the parting of the Red Seas and the killing of all of the firstborn of Egypt and all that stuff. So we're pretty scared of you guys. Just if you happen to massacre every human being in this city, hey, how about you don't massacre my family?" So Rahab tells the king, "Oh, you know what? You just missed them. They just escaped through the walls of the city. If you guys rush after them, you can just get them." And then she runs back to them and she says, "Hey, fellas, listen, all of us have heard about you Israelites and the whole killing all of the firstborn sons in Egypt and parting the Red Seas. So we're duly afraid of you."
Yes. So now hold on. Is this pre-wandering for 40 years or post?
This is post.
So we heard your badasses, but you have a terrible sense of direction.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You guys have been wandering in a circle in a 10-mile radius for 40 years. So you
rolled an 18. You rolled an 18 on magic and a 3 on compass.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Little Dungeons and Dragons fun for our friends.
Boom, baby. That'll do it.
Yeah.
We're opening up to a whole new segment with that one. Anyway,
It's our own Bible. Yeah.
So she says, "Hey, look." They're like, "Great, thanks. You saved us. What can we do for you?" She's like, "You're gonna look. I don't know what you guys are up to, but on the off chance that you're going to murder everyone in this whole city, no spoilers. Just don't kill me and my fam. How about that?" And they go,
Seems
"Deal."
fair. Seems fair. She warned them.
She did.
Yeah.
So off they skedaddle. And they bring back sort of word to Joshua, who decides, okay, cool, we're going to go to Jericho.
Make a big wooden horse.
Right?
Is that the story?
They got a better one.
Okay.
They got a better one. They have an ark.
So
So
they have Noah's Ark. They have lions and tigers.
you'd think, no, this is Indiana's ark. This is the Ark of the Covenant.
Ark with a K.
That's right. This one.
Nice.
This one is the one that Indiana Jones was constantly after. That's now safe in some government warehouse somewhere.
Yes, but a government facility. Yes,
but back then it was just carried around with the Israelites by some priests, and so it's magic. It's super duper magic. Don't underestimate the power of this ark. So much so that when they decide that they're going to cross the River Jordan, because they got to get to the other side, no good bridges to do so, and building a boat would just take forever because there's like tens of thousands of people.
Right. They learned that lesson from Genesis. That is time consuming.
Right. But they also learned a lesson from 40 years ago when they needed to cross the Red Sea. And they realized that if you use magic, it's super easy to get across big bodies of water. So
yes, almost every young adult author has realized that as well.
Yes, indeed. It's lazy writing at its greatest. So here's what they do: they take the ark. Joshua sends the priests with the ark into the water. The second their feet touch the water, it stops flowing, and as the Bible puts it, somehow the word is like heaps. It heaps up far away from them.
Okay.
So way upstream, there's suddenly just heaps and heaps of water. I'm not sure
how. A heap
of
water. Yeah.
You get your heap in waters sometimes.
That's called a glacier. But moving on.
Moving on, and they do. So the guys walk the ark to the middle of the river. Everybody has to give a very wide berth to the ark so that they don't get zapped or something. Finally, all of these tens of thousands of people flow across the river around the ark and make it to the other side. And then Joshua has this whole thing about picking up 12 stones from the middle of the river to represent the 12 tribes of Israel. Anyway, that's a bunch of blah, blah, blah.
This story, does it stay this dumb or does it get any better?
Oh, it dumber, I think. We'll see. I'll let you be the judge of that.
Awesome. I'm ready.
They get to the other side. They pick up the ark. They take it to the other side. The water starts flowing. It unheaps, as it will.
Sure.
And there they are, poof, on the other side. And they get to finally they walk up. Oh, there's this whole thing. There's another thing I guess I should mention, which is, and now we're in Joshua chapter 5. And the Lord said, at that time, the Lord said to Joshua, make flint knives. So there's your stabby, but it's not for stabbing. Okay. Make flint knives, the Lord says to Joshua, and circumcise the Israelites again.
Oh, for fuck's sake. What?
Well,
you can't circumcise someone again.
Well, that's what I thought. But as it is, apparently what has happened is that over the course of these 40 years of wandering, all of the adult men of military age who left Egypt have died, and now their only guys of military age are their sons. And their sons were never circumcised. So super important to take a goodly amount of time and circumcise thousands and thousands of young men whose penises were still woefully intact.
I want you and I, Dan, to swear to covenant with each other here, if you will, in the parlance of the Old Testament or the Book of Mormon, that we're going to try to go like 2 episodes in a row after this without a mass circumcision story. So far, we haven't been able to do it.
I make no such covenant. You can't stop me.
We haven't been able to do it so far. Okay, so fine. I will make that covenant, but you are not sworn to it.
And then unsurprisingly, they take a few days to heal, because everybody's dick is cut off. Then they go to Jericho, and they get there, and of course Jericho is ready for them, and they've closed the doors to the walls of the city. The whole city's walled in; they can't get in.
Wow, that's when you call Samson.
Well,
you know what comes next.
You'd want to, but that's okay.
Yeah.
They've got their own thing. You don't want to run the same gag twice. So
okay, gotcha.
So they got their own gimmick, and that is that what they. So the Lord is going to tell Joshua what to do, and here's what he says: He's going to have the priests march with the ark. Yeah. 7 priests carry trumpets of rams, so ram's horns.
Shofars,
in front of the ark.
Shofars, yeah.
Shofar Shogood.
Shofar Shogood.
And then the ark is going to be marched behind them, and then all the soldiers behind the ark. So it's a parade. They're going to do a parade. Now, they're going to go around the entire city once on one day. Then they're going to do it again the next day, all the way around the city. And then they're going to do that for 6 days. And then on the 7th day, they're going to march around the city 7 times, because 7 is a super important number for no apparent reason.
So they will have circumambulated the city 13 times. Think about that.
Lucky 13. There you go.
Right.
But you're correct. And then on that 7th time, the trumpeters are going to blow their horns real loud, and then all of the soldiers are going to shout their war shout.
Yes.
And then the walls will come tumbling down.
The walls of Jericho came tumbling down.
Well, so here's what's funny. So they go. So this is the plan. Joshua decides to put it into action. On the 7th day, they do it for 6 days, and Joshua was very careful to say, "Don't yell until the 7th day." And then on the 7th day, they go around and around and around and around and around, and I just kind of love, because Joshua has this very Braveheart moment where he's gonna tell them to shout, his whole army, because they've been quiet, or they've been very reverent, to use a good Mormon word, as they've marched around. So when the priests, I'll just read from the good book. Here we go. The 7th time around, when the priests,
and I quote,
yes, exactly. When the priests sounded the trumpet blast, Joshua commanded the army, "Shout, for the Lord has given you the city and all that is in it are to be devoted to the Lord. Only Rahab the prostitute and all who are with her in her house shall be spared, because she hid the spies we sent. But keep away from devoted things, so that you will not be brought. You bring about your own destruction by taking any of them. Otherwise, you will make the camp of Israel liable to destruction and bring trouble on it. All the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron are sacred to the Lord and must go to his treasury."
Wow, that is a speech to stir the hearts of men.
Isn't it just?
I love poor Rahab. She always wondering, do you really have to throw in the prostitute? Like, everybody knows. Everybody knows what I do.
Right.
You don't have to say Rahab. Just say Rahab for me.
No.
But yeah, what a stirring speech, huh?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a little editing would have gone a long way there, Josh.
Yeah, it's like the rules when you get off the bus at summer camp, right? Remember to use bug spray and sunscreen. The pool is only open during daylight hours. Take everything for the Lord's treasury. Have fun.
Right, exactly. Don't keep anything, you troublemakers. So the trumpets blow. The army shouts, "Good job," and the walls collapse. And they just charge right in. Now,
it's like Dune. It's like in Dune with the things, with the voice exploders.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is not canon. By the way, is not canon. It's not in the book. That's David Lynch taking liberties with Dune, which was bullshit.
Well, he's taking brilliant
What were we talking
liberties.
about?
Anyway, let's go on. It was no Jodorowsky. Let's be clear about that. Anywho, on we go. They rush in. Now, here's what I thought. I thought, okay, they're rushing in. They're going to secure all the gold and whatever, and probably kill most of the men or something, and then the city is theirs and whatever. Oh no!
Right.
They kill everything. Everything.
All the things they kill. Oh yes, this was a common thing that Yahweh demanded of his Israelite thugs, wasn't it? To kill everything, to kill man, woman, child, beast.
Yeah.
Your ferns.
Yeah.
Whatever presented itself as alive was to be destroyed because. Why?
Because this is a crazy book.
Because
Literally,
what did donkeys do? What did cats do?
You know what's funny?
What did chickens do?
You mentioned donkeys. It mentions donkeys.
Sure.
This is literally verse 21 in chapter 6 of this. Verse 21 says, "They devoted the city to the Lord," and apparently this is how you do that, "and destroyed with the sword every living thing in it, men and women, young and old, cattle, sheep, and donkeys."
Why? Okay, this is a look. Bible times, people were. If you weren't the king, you were shit poor, right? You were shit poor. Do you know how much a donkey? Do you know how many shekels a donkey was worth? Let me tell you, more than 30 pieces of silver. So it's like. It's crazy. It's like the spoils of war, right? You don't go in and blow up all the cars
right,
and burn all the houses down if you intend to stay in the city.
Right.
You keep all that shit.
Right. We've ransacked the Ferrari dealership. Now destroy the cars.
Right.
It's not
the bank. Burn it.
Right. It's so weird. So they do that because what you don't want is Jericho donkeys. You don't want a Jericho sheep.
You don't want a dirty, uncircumcised donkey.
So there you go. That's the sacking of Jericho. Of course, they do go. They go and they grab Rahab. They get the prostitute and tell her to bring out all of her people. So they get her father, her mother, brothers and sisters, and all who, quote, belonged to her. I got to think that there's some other whores in there. And they bring out them all, and
you know, she was pulling a whole Schindler's List thing there. It's like, oh, that's my cousin Joey.
Right, exactly.
Oh, hey, Sandra, come on, quick, over here.
Oh, wait, don't kill him. He's my Uncle
Louis.
Doug.
Uncle Doug. Yeah, do kill him.
Yeah. Anywho, there we go. They saved those folk and no one else, and then. Hooray! They burned the whole city and everything in it, but they put the silver and gold and the articles of bronze and iron into the treasury of the Lord's house, and spared the prostitute.
Well, I think that is the morality. Like we always look for, the kernel of good right thinking in these stories, and clearly, the moral of this story is kill everyone but the prostitute. Right?
Save the hooker. I think that's.
Let's move on.
That's the yeah. There you go. Bible stories. Save the hooker. Moving on.
All you need to know. Let's move on.
Oh, Uncle Mark.
I am here.
And
by here I mean in the middle of the Canadian wilderness, but I'm here.
Yeah, you are. You're deep into it. I think
Dude.
I just heard the call of the wild Canadian raccoon.
If I see a Mountie riding through the forest right now, two things, not surprised. Other, I will faint because that's so hot. But anyway, here I am.
It is so hot. They are a sexy group of police officers.
I saw my first real Mountie like 2 years ago in Victoria when I was walking around town, sitting on a white horse. I swooned.
Yeah. Yeah.
I swooned. And I screamed, "Oh, Canada," and then fell in front of him. Yeah.
I imagine that's true.
I tried to break some kind of law. I was rude. So,
hey,
anyway.
Speaking of laws,
Yes.
did you know that in these United States, sometimes there are laws governing who can marry who? Now, for you,
sometimes
that was a law. There were laws that prevented you from marrying the person you loved for a very long time.
Yes.
And then you got to do it.
And then I got to do it. And you're right. And there are laws, but you know, Dan, when it comes to religion, laws are meant to be broken.
Well, and some laws that very much should exist actually don't.
That's
so
right.
That's a fun thing that we'll get to. But what we're talking about is marriage. A marriage that has been something that's existed since biblical times.
Oh, you bet it has. You bet it has. So I'm gonna walk us through, a particular oppression expression today, which is one of our maybe least favorite segments. But if you're gonna do a podcast about the excesses of religion, it's pretty hard to not have such a segment. So here we go, and I'll start by talking about a friend that was in the news not so long ago, a fellow by the name of Roy Moore.
Oh,
Who this fella kicked over a can of open secrets in America with his little history of hitting on girls as young as 14 when he was in his 30s. So what was even more alarming about this was the tidal wave of defense that came entirely from very conservative religious people claiming there's not only not a damn thing wrong with a state district attorney, now that means a guy who enforces the law, creeping around a mall cruising for girls who aren't old enough to drive.
Right.
But the near universal chorus that he, in fact, would have been within his rights to marry any of these children left all non-fucked up people to ask, what the actual fuck is this about, right?
Yeah.
So, Dan, our general policy here at the How To Heretic is, don't be religious. Yeah?
It's not a hard and fast rule, but it's a pretty strong policy. It's a good suggestion.
It's a good suggestion. And then second to that is, if you have to be religious, don't be female.
That's just sort of a natural law. That's a law of nature, not of us.
And this segment will kind of back up that chestnut of wisdom from your loving uncles here. So today I want to talk about an ongoing and bizarrely nearly 100% legal okie dokie oppression expression, and that is child brides. This is a worldwide phenomenon. We'll visit several spots on the globe before this is over. So the forcible or coerced using air quotes here, consensual marriage of girls to older men is a plague on this earth wherever conservative religion is exercised without legal and societal containment or barriers. The UN estimates that 37,000 girls under the age of 18 are married every day.
Whoa.
Every day in the world. That's enough girls to sell out Fenway Park in Boston, which my love of sport. I had to look that up on the Google. Every single day. And in 1 year, that's as many children being married as the entire population of Rwanda. So,
holy crap.
Despite the fact that conservative religious people everywhere, and specifically American Christians, seem to believe marriage is some kind of magical state of being where any problem on a Tuesday will disappear on a Thursday so long as a marriage was rushed through on a Wednesday, marriage is not a panacea for every fucking problem on the flat earth. So here's some stats that back that up, which using things like science. Women married before the age of 18 are 3 times more likely to have been beaten by their spouse than women married at age 21 or older.
Wow.
Maternal mortality for girls between 15 and 19 is twice as high as for women giving birth in their 20s. And for girls under 15, it is 5 times as high. Of the more than 15 million girls aged 15 to 19 in low and middle income countries that give birth every year, 90% are married. In the first year of life, babies born to teenagers are twice as likely to die as babies born to women in their 20s.
Oh
yeah. The stats are horrible, right? Young mothers who survive childbirth more frequently suffer from debilitating and stigmatizing health problems due to higher rates of obstructed labor and fistulae. And fistula is a horrible complication from birth that leaves some women who can't get a simple procedure to fix it debilitated for life.
Right.
So let's talk about this fabulous scourge in a few places where it is most common.
Oh, yes,
The
please.
the Islamic world leads the medals count in the child bride Olympics. And conversely, the general age which girls are forced into bondage with their husbands is low, like a good golf score. In Sudan, girls can be married at age 10 legally.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 10. In South Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Gambia, Somalia, and Yemen, there is no minimum age for girls to be given as sexual property to older men. Even in parts of the Islamic world where there are legal limits, like Turkey, they're generally ignored by the devout and people in rural areas. Or, like in the Philippines and Trinidad, I didn't know Trinidad and Tobago had such a large Muslim population, but they do.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
They have established laws for matrimonial age of consent, which is 21 in the Philippines, 18 in Trinidad. Muslims get special get-out-of-child rape free passes, girls hitting puberty in the former, and at age 12 in the latter. Isn't that nice? So 9 years in the Philippines, a Muslim can marry a girl 9 years before it's legal for anybody else.
Good Lord.
Yeah, that's nice. So I poked around on the Google to see what the Quran has to say about child marriage. I found quite a lot of scripture from the Quran dealing with marriage, like not marrying too close a relative, not marrying your brother's wife, et cetera, but nothing explicitly about the age or the consensual nature of marriage.
Right.
But, oh my God, is there a furious debate about whether Islam permits child marriage / bondage and generally fails to condemn pedophilia. And that is like furious debate online. But here's the thing, is based on the stats of child marriages in Muslim-dominated countries with Sharia law, the answer is yes. At the very least, it fails to prevent or even discourage the forced marriage and sexual and reproductive bondage of children. And, of course, a lot of this argument comes down to Muhammad and his marriage to Aisha.
Right.
So I don't know if you remember the story of Aisha.
That's what everybody gets to. I mean, when you hear about people talking about marriage in Islam, and especially Christians who want to shit all over Islam and talk about how much better their thing is than Muslims' thing, they will talk about how Muhammad married a 0-year-old or whatever.
Right, and yes, the Christians have quite an ivory tower to cast stones from because God raped Mary. God raped Mary at twice the age that Muhammad married Aisha, right? So even the really pious conservative Muslim sites admit that Aisha was 6 when she married the Prophet.
Jesus Christ.
But they take very great and kind of hilarious pains to explain that the marriage wasn't consummated until she reached the much more reasonable age of 9. And
is that actually scriptural, or are they making that up?
No, it apparently is scriptural. And Muhammad occurred. The events surrounding the Quran are much more recent than the events surrounding the Bible.
Right.
So there is a bit more record of it, and that's a lot of the apologetics say, well, she had reached a mature state. She was very intellectual. She understood what was going on. She was a good a confidant.
So smart for her age, really.
Right, and a scholar of Islam at 9, so it was time to bow, bow, bow. And then there's a really crazy apologetic that Muhammad and company counted calendar years differently, like dog years, but in the reverse. So it's like,
right.
What it says 6, she was clearly 19. I mean, everybody understands that. So.
Everybody knows that. Yeah, years work differently. These are Muhammad years, so it's just a totally different animal. You can't. You're comparing apples and oranges here.
That close to the equator, the Earth turns more slowly. Everybody knows this. So, as you were saying, this unfortunate fact of Aisha is what underlies a lot of the screaming attack that Muhammad was a pedophile, quote, quote. And while
which
that
he
pejorative
very clearly was. He was a child molester. That's the truth.
That is kind of the truth. If you consider a person of 9 a child, then yes.
And I do. I do, in fact, consider that a child.
I think there's still a little childhood left at that point. But, so a lot of his followers certainly, even though the Trump voting right loves to scream this, it does actually remain a fact. And so you can argue whether the Quran actually supports that, but in the majority of Muslim countries, if you're a girl, you can be forced to marry your grandpa's friend when you hit double digits or the moment of your first period. So whether the Quran justifies child marriage or not, if you're an underage girl in Yemen or Sudan, does it matter? Right. Because your government does, your society does. And just so we cross all the crescents and dot all the stars, here is super high-ranking Saudi cleric Sheikh Abdul Aziz al-Sheikh, one of Islam's most respected muftis, on that subject in 2009.
Oh, good.
Quote, "It is incorrect to say that it's not permitted to marry off girls who are 15 and younger," Sheikh Abdul Aziz quoted Wednesday in Al Hayat newspaper. "A girl aged 10 or 12 can be married. Those who think she's too young are wrong, and they are being," and this is really what he said, "are being unfair to her."
Oh, yeah, because she wants it so much.
Right.
She
Right.
loves
she wants
her
to be pregnant
Uncle
at 11.
Sam. Yeah.
I like that his name's Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, Saudi Sam.
Saudi Sam.
So let's leave the Islamic world there because that's quite enough. And now let's travel to the leading single nation for child marriage, which is India.
Oh, yes.
So while the Islamic world leads in numbers of child brides generally, India has the highest number of any one country, pushing 2 billion people, hardly a surprise. Couple that with conservative Hindu tradition and high rates of extreme poverty, and young girls, especially in rural areas, have pretty shitty odds of self-determination.
Right.
According to UNICEF, and this kind of blew my mind, according to UNICEF, half of all women alive at present in India who are married were married as children.
Oh.
Nice, huh?
Half. They've got 1 billion people there. That's half of half a billion. You can you can math better than I can, but I know that that's a lot of ladies.
That's as many as hundreds. Easily.
Easily.
So, like a lot of extremely conservative agrarian societies, daughters are of less worth than sons and seen as long-term economic burdens. So the sooner they can unload one onto somebody else for care and feeding, the better. And the illegal but still very much in vogue caste system also plays a part in this dismal custom. So, if a Dalit, who's the lowest caste, and Dan, I can't believe we have not yet done a segment on the caste system, the Hindu caste system in India, which is just mind-blowing. A little bit
it's because
about it.
they've given it all up. It's because it doesn't exist anymore.
Done and done. Everything's fine.
This problem is solved according to nobody.
Yeah. So if you're a Dalit, if you're at the bottom and you're just stuck forever, another mouth is another mouth. So you got to get rid of it as soon as you can. So, and here's another very strange little Indian issue with this. Bizarrely, the cost of the wedding itself is a major factor. So basically, they often double or triple up. So if your older sister's getting married, you might as well get hitched at the same time because it's just one feast instead of two.
Well, so I have been to India and I've seen the way that they do up their weddings, and it's fun. They're having a good time, so it doesn't surprise me that it's more money than they care to spend twice.
Yeah. So if you're a 10-year-old girl, you better hope your 16-year-old sister waits a couple more years, right?
Right. Jesus Christ.
So that's, that the volume discount business is a little bit of a part of it. And also, I know a lot of people think that, there's something very spiritual and wonderful about these, ancient cultures. And I would just say, before anybody writes in saying it's culture and therefore must be respected, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
People make culture and people can change culture. So just because a thing is ancient doesn't automatically mean it's good. In fact, if you just spend a little time in our back catalog, you'll find that it's almost always exactly the opposite case, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things where the appeal to antiquity is something we encounter it a lot in our woo segments because everybody loves a good ancient Chinese or Indian health product without necessarily getting into the fact that it's based on really bad thinking or whatever.
Right. It's based on a pre-scientific idea of how the world worked.
Right.
So, you can put that jade egg up your hoo-ha, but I don't think it's going to do much other than a yeast infection for you. So
it kind of tickles a little bit.
For a country bedeviled by cyclic grinding generational poverty, robbing people of education and self-determination and literacy and freedom to pursue employment and forcing them into a cycle of making more people is probably the worst possible way to combat, generational poverty. But that's just me.
It doesn't seem like the best idea. I mean, I'm checking, but
no. For a woman of 20 to have 3 children by the time she hits 20, she's definitely barely able to take care of herself, let alone, a growing family.
Right.
The other crazy thing is dowries in India. And dowries have been, oddly enough, illegal since the aptly named Dowry Prohibition Act of 1961.
Oh.
Because the Indian government has been trying in some way to do something about this. Child brides are illegal. 18 is the marrying age in India. But dowries are, oddly enough, based on kind of an actual economy. So the younger a girl is and the less educated she is, the cheaper the dowry. So there is an incentivization to marry off your girls before much school or before they get, past 12.
Oh, interesting. That actually surprises me because I would have thought that an older girl would be worth less in this system.
Based on all of these, everything we've already talked about with child brides, you'd think that.
Yeah.
And there's probably a breaking point, but if she's, I imagine if she can read and write and stuff like that, it's an advantage to the family.
Sure.
And that just comes along with being a little bit older. So anyway, good times. There is a little bit of good news in the Indian model, which is that the rate of underage marriages for females has dropped from over 50% to around 30% just in the past 20 years.
Oh.
But that's still 1/3 of Indian girls entering into marriages they either don't or can't consent to. But,
right.
Good job, India.
India.
So, just in case anyone thought I was going to be some kind of colonial Orientalist white asshole about this, I'm going to bring this little comedy back home.
Yes, you can't not. We got it here.
Back to the United States of America. So, we are not in America, as many listeners know. We're not immune to this issue here. In fact, the constant legal turbocharging of what is broadly, and I think wrongly called religious freedom, read legal workarounds from modern civilizational norms and actual laws, has led to a dual legal system and social system in America. And it's not just cakeless gay weddings that suffer from this parallel society, right?
Right.
And in the US of A, with parental or even bizarrely judicial consent, it is possible for minors to marry in every single state. And oddly, sometimes by order of the court. Yeah, every single state.
There's not a single state that says, look, just don't get married. Nobody gets married until they're 18. That's it.
Well, I'll get to it. I'll show you. I'll demonstrate how fun this is. So, there's various reasons for why this is in the United States, but none of them that aren't of religious origin.
Right.
I would argue that, despite hating Catholics generally, American Protestantism reveres Jesus' mother as, strangely enough, a model of purity and virtue.
Right.
And Protestant or not, no American Christian of any stripe seems bothered by the generally accepted age of the girl, as we kind of mentioned before, that God Almighty banged without consent, being a very mature 12 in the Bronze Age. And then, of course, the Catholics, as we know, have turned this rape victim into a near god and revere her again as a model of virtue and purity.
Right.
But in all cases, this is the fetishization of the sexual state of a preteen girl, which I think is a huge part of the problem. I think another part of the problem in the United States that Christianity doesn't seem to share in the rest of the Western world is this obsession with girls as commodities. And, I think a lot of that could certainly be traced back to the original sin of the United States, which is slavery,
Right.
and that God ordained white men, landed white men of a certain class traded human beings as property. And I think that kind of maintains to this age. So, Dan, let's talk about state by state a little bit. Marriage age by state. Utah, what do you think the minimum age is?
So I know I've read certain numbers, and I'm not sure how accurate or inaccurate they are. But I know that the FLDS church, the fundamentalist polygamists, had a lot of pull when it came to this, and I think it's 14 with consent, with parental consent.
Close, 15.
15, okay.
15. All right. How about Alabama?
14.
16.
Oh, okay. They've beaten us.
They're doing better. How about South Carolina?
Oh God. I'm just gonna say 15.
16 again.
Wow.
Huh? Come on, Old South. How about Texas?
Oh, you gotta have some young marriages in Texas. I mean, that's where Warren Jeffs ran away to. So I'm gonna I'm gonna say that one's got to be. I'm gonna go 13 for Texas.
16 again. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And now, okay, here's a curveball. New Hampshire.
Oh, okay, 12. I don't know. It's going to be one of those things where it's just not going to make any sense anyway, so why am I even trying?
Fucking 13.
Jesus Christ.
Why? Why New Hampshire? Why New England? Why? That is so crazy to me.
Will you get your act together, please?
Yeah, exactly. So that's a little fun, but it's states like Kentucky, West Virginia, Alabama. They have the highest rates of minor marriage in America, but Idaho, Wyoming, and Utah, more on that in a second.
Yeah.
We're in the running. And the equation, it seems to be rural population times religious concentration times poverty equals girls being given away for sexual servitude. And despite, as we mentioned, the stats above, all the evidence and research to the contrary, religious conservatives see marriage as a cure for all the evils of teen pregnancy, sexual immorality, and, young people being able to have happy childhoods and grow into autonomous adults with free agency and options.
Now, I'm gonna challenge you on one thing. This doesn't stop. Nobody's claiming that this stops teen pregnancy. They're just saying it stops unwed teen pregnancy.
Right, and that's all shame based, right? It's shameful if you're unmarried. If you're a Christian, your unmarried daughter gets pregnant. That's shameful.
Right.
If your 14-year-old daughter's married and gets pregnant, well, that's a mitzvah, right?
Right. They've basically made a loophole for themselves where it's not unwed pregnancy if you wed her off real quick.
Exactly. And crazier, like a lot of times courts, with or without parents being, involved in the consent, courts will oftentimes force kids into marriage in statutory rape cases, and they'll waive prosecution generally of the older boy if they get married, which is crazy.
Yeah. I think, again, we've gone to biblical precedent on this.
Yeah, well, it all comes back to that, doesn't it? So, and I just, follow on with saying we see these carve-outs in literally every state that allow children, again, almost always girls, to be married even though state law expressly lays out a minimum age. Because in most of the rest of the country, it is 18. But the bulk of these workarounds involve, quote, parental consent.
Right.
But there's really nowhere in the U.S. that there's any law or any mechanism by which, quote unquote, consent of the minor girl in question is established. Keep in mind that nationwide, a person under 18 can't legally consent to anything like a car loan or an employment contract or a rental lease, etc., without a parent or guardian, right?
Yeah, that's because legally we understand that they're idiots and they're not prepared to do that sort of thing.
But on their 18th birthday, they're not idiots anymore. It's amazing.
It's a miracle of age.
So your dad deciding to consent to a marriage on your behalf is like your dad co-signing on a car for you, but a car you may not want that gets to fuck you whenever it feels like it.
Right.
And all of the states, Dan, with a particular hankering to consummate a legal contract with girls who probably asked for a Barbie at the most recent Christmas, we come all the way home to Utah. So we're going to finish up with our fair square state.
It's not quite a square. There's a chunk taken out of it.
It's kind of a square. It's kind of a positive negative square. I quite like it, actually. But, like our Muslim friends, we are stuck with a rather problematic prophet here in Mormon country. As you know, Dan, the founder of the Mormon Church and man whose main superpower was making pebbles invisible in order to translate lies from pretend languages into Elizabethan English.
Right.
Joseph Smith was killed by a mob years before the Mormons rattled into the Salt Lake Valley. And the long and short of the story is that killer mob was largely comprised of his former disciples. Turns out these guys were pissed about the prophet's tendency to marry the wives and daughters of other men.
Why?
Like themselves.
These guys are so, right. They're such prudes.
Why be so possessive, man?
Right? Chill out.
Among Joseph's wives, as we know, were a number of girls best described as young. Two of them, Helen Mar Kimball and Nancy Maria Winchester, were 14 when they were married, and 8 of his other wives were 16 to 19. So we can bicker all the livelong day about whether or not it was normal in 19th century America for a girl of 14 to marry a man in his 30s. Ron Howard voice, it wasn't. But the point isn't whether it was the custom of the time in 1840. The question, for our discussion, Dan, is whether it's the custom today, and it very much is not. And were it not for religious carve-outs, it would be totally illegal. But in Utah, loads of men who claim to walk in Joe Smith's fancy boots have been and continue to be inspired by him and find scriptural justification for forcing themselves sexually on teens and tweens. So let's finish up by talking about just a few standouts among the many here in Utah, shall we?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm just going to play the hits. Among the groups at the bottom of the Mormon lint filter who fled when polygamy was officially unsanctioned by the Mormon Church in 1890 were the fundamentalist Latter-day Saints that you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
They went to what remains one of the most remote parts of the lower 48, the Arizona Strip, which is kind of sandwiched just north of the Grand Canyon and just south of the Utah line. It's technically a few inches outside of Utah, but it's still very much our problem. So Warren Jeffs is a tall, lanky piece of shit with a voice like a hypnotist on ether, and he was the last prophet of this desert band of hardcore fundamentalists. In addition to marrying off an unknown number of teen and preteen girls to adult men in his community who had curried his favor, he's now in prison forever for the crime of marrying, then raping a 12 and 14-year-old girl, and for the stupidity of having recorded it. If you have the stomach for it, they play the audio of this rape in the amazing documentary Prophet's Prey. I'll put a link in the show notes. It's pretty graphic and stomach-turning, and the jury in Texas agreed.
Which, if you can get a Texas jury to agree that someone's being like a little too biblical, that's impressive.
Yeah, they deliberated for like 8 minutes and came back and basically threw all the books at him. So good on you, Texas. So another example is Tom Green, not the weird 90s comedian, but another Utah splinter polygamist. And he was just a typical Utah polygamist living in a cluster of trailers out in the desert, committing insurance and welfare fraud like you do.
As you do.
And along comes the dang government to attack his religious freedom in 2002 for marrying and raping a 13-year-old girl. So, fucking bummer. And then, of course, Dan, you and I will remember a colorful scamp named Emmanuel who used to beg for coins in downtown SLC. Did you ever run into him?
I never did.
Really?
No. I not that I'm aware of. I don't remember ever running into him. I've run into some other fun characters, but that guy was one that I missed. Thankfully,
you might remember he dressed like a Book of Mormon prophet, and he thought of himself as one. And in 2002, this godly man kidnapped a 14-year-old Elizabeth Smart from her family home, and what followed was nearly a year of brutal captivity and constant rape. And for that, he was finally found guilty and thrown in prison. And most recently, this one, I don't know if you know about this one, Dan. This has just happened this year. Two local boys, Samuel Schaefer and John Coltharp.
Yeah, these guys are peaches.
Who, as you know, are the prophets and leaders of the Knights of the Crystal Blade.
Which, by the way, of all of the, speaking of D&D games, that one is not a good one. Don't play it.
No, it's so dumb. The blade just breaks. It's stupid. There's no tensile strength. These two have tested Utah's extremely permissive stance on letting religious people run beyond the legal fences that bind the rest of us.
Right.
These rascals took turns marrying each other's daughters, ages 8 and 4. And
yeah, I'll let you tell the story, but it's not even cute how they ended up finding these girls.
Well, I didn't get into the whole how. I know they were in shipping containers out in the desert, right?
They were in barrels, or something like that, just out in the middle of the desert. They had hidden them there. The fellas had socked them away.
Luckily alive.
Yeah.
So they had told friends they were going to kill the girls and themselves if the cops came, but somehow the cops got the drop on them, thank God. So the girls are alive, but who knows what the rest of their lives are going to be like. So
right.
Spare a thought. So not to end on such a down note, but it is important to take heart that there are organizations trying to end this international nightmare. Unchained at Last works to help women and girls out of forced marriages in the U.S.
Right.
UNICEF, of course, is doing good work all around the world, trying to incentivize different behaviors in traditional cultures. And there's a bunch more, and I'll include them in the show notes for anybody that wants to dig a little deeper. But again, remember, this phenomenon does not exist in non-religious communities. This is entirely conservative faith groups that perpetrate this nightmare. So
that's an important point to note. We don't want to lose sight of the fact that this doesn't have to happen. There's no reason why it happens except that there are literally Bronze Age books that claim that it's okay, and then everybody just goes, "Oh, okay, I guess it's all right."
Well, you could almost, Dan, and just almost squint your eye and draw the preposterous conclusion that religion is very, very often just a bunch of extra legal hooey cooked up by men who, under normal circumstances would just be pedophiles and rapists, but don't want to go to jail and they want to get rich. So yeah, that's one way to look at it. Or it's all real.
Or every bit of it is as real as you could possibly want it to be.
We'll leave it to the listeners to decide. So that, my friends, is the wonderful world of child brides. I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Go out there and get yourself an of-age woman, fellas. That's the official stance of us.
Or if you need to marry a much younger woman, get a trophy wife of the appropriate age when you're of the appropriate age. It's a midlife crisis thing. It's not a preteen crisis. There's no such thing as preteen crisis. Don't do it. So it's gross. Let's move on.
Okay, moving on.
Uncle Dan.
Yes, sir.
There's always money in the banana stand.
Well, I heard that.
But since we don't have a banana stand, we have patrons.
We do. It's the only way that this show can go. It's the engine that drives us. It is the wind beneath our wings.
That's right.
And we have some folks to thank. These are people who have gone to howtoheretic.com and clicked on the support or the patron button that's there.
Yep.
And decided to sign up and give us a little bit of their hard-earned cash.
Right.
It doesn't have to be much, but man, every penny just helps so much. So
for the cost of a nickel bag of weed, you can send Uncle Dan to community college. So please, please, please lay off the jazz cabbage and help Dan learn Algebra 1.
Help me get out of this goddamn podcasting racket, will ya? Oh, wait, no. Help me stay in it.
Help us stay in it. So who do we have to thank this week?
The people we have to thank, our glorious listeners this week, are Tim, Sam, and Beckett. That's interesting.
Beckett.
Sam and Beckett. Samuel Beckett. What about that?
How about that?
Who would have seen that coming?
This is coded.
It is. It is. I think you guys are teaming up out there to make us say things.
All the English majors are teaming up on it.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Anyway, to you three, we say a grand thank you. And to the rest of you, we invite you cordially to share with these folks in the receipt of an early version of the show.
Monday people. Monday people.
Monday people are the best people.
Yes.
We know you want us early in your week. We know you need it. So, all you got to do is just drop a little dime our way, and you'll get it for your own damn self.
And listen, if you can't, if your means are stretched to the breaking point already, listen, you're not paying tithing anymore. So what's the difference? Fucking 10% to us, 10% to whomever. But if you can't do that, go ahead and hit us up on iTunes or on any other place you can rate us. Give us a 5. Dan is really mad about 4s, so give us a 5.
Dan is hugely mad about 4s. 4s don't count. I can't say this strongly enough. You're only allowed to give 5s. That's all that matters. It's not a fair world, and you can't do 5s. You can't do 4s.
You know how hard we work for that 5th star? So if you can't give us some cash, give us a kind word on iTunes, because what that really does is help drive this to the top of the garbage religion podcasting thing, and all the good people will see the good work, and they will join us in this great calling, and all will be well.
Amen. Let's move on.
Moving on. Uncle Dan.
Yeah.
The good Lord created, as we know, and this is fact, created the earth in 6 calendar days.
Yeah.
And he commanded...
Which, by the way, I'm going to point out was a trick, because because on the first day, he hadn't even invented days yet. So, I don't know if he fudged on that first couple days, because days have to do with the rotation of the earth and the sun and stuff, so, and he hadn't even created those yet. So who knows what those first few days were. He
created us in his image, and we cheat on our taxes, so I get it, right? This is something is close to godliness. But he commanded, I believe in the second commandment, or 4th, that we should keep his Sabbath day holy, and for most people, most right-thinking, good people in the world, that Sabbath day is Sunday.
It's true. It doesn't really matter when you do your Sabbath. Those Seventh-day Adventists, and I was corrected. I did a whole thing a few weeks ago on the Adventists,
sure did.
And I called them Adventists, and was corrected by faithful listeners.
I wonder if
Adventists.
Do they have an outdoor program called Seventh-day Adventurists, do you think? They rock climb.
That's what the Mormons are going to call their new scouting program.
Love it. Yeah, we had a Twitter contest about that. But anyway, today we're going to talk about a how-to, Dan. We're going to have a how-to, which is our favorite thing ever to do these how-tos.
Right.
And you're going to talk about the Sabbath day.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. You leave your religion. You've been doing it. Maybe you've been doing it your whole life. I certainly had been. 18 years of hard religioning. And in that time, every Sunday, I had business to attend to. And because I grew up Mormon, it was painful and lasted an ungodly amount of time.
Right. And the person who invented the word boredom had never been to a Mormon church service. I think they would have invented a bigger word if they'd gone.
Oh, there would be a whole vocabulary of just that word. The Eskimos have 100 words for snow, and the Mormons just weep a little bit when they think about how boring their lives are.
So our Sundays growing up were burdened with listening to terrible old men with halitosis drone on and on and on about the same goddamn thing every week. We had to do fast offerings. Remember, we had to go collect money from people. We had evening firesides if we were lucky, there was a roast somewhere in the middle of that. But Sunday was not a fun day, Dan.
Oh my God. And let me tell you something. No group of people in the world are worse at the 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work than Mormons, who will not go, like if they can at all avoid it, will not go into their office on Sunday, but still manage to work a full 13-hour day from dawn to dusk, doing various, teaching a class here and then having to give a talk there and then having to, slave over a meal or whatever. They're working too hard on their day of rest. It's a nightmare. But look, you leave the church. You leave your Mormonism, your Seventh-day Adventist. You leave your J-dubs, your Catholic, your what have you.
Right.
And one of the things, apart from getting a 10% raise in your income, one of the things that you have suddenly is a day.
You have Sunday.
And how are you going to do that day? Because
and let me testify to you, Dan, that I'm going to bear my testimony about Sunday.
Please do.
I hated Sunday. I hated the day. I didn't just hate the church, the going to church, the horrible, all the sadness and boredom and drudgery and the grind around it. I hated the actual day of the week because that's when that all went down. So it took me a long time after I left, and I went out like the Kool-Aid guy through a wall. It took me a long time to begin to learn to like Sunday.
Me too. Very much so. For me, there was a lot mixed into it. There was the dread of Monday, that started about halfway in because I hated school. And there was, it was literally just a nightmare day from dawn to dusk. And then you get through it and then you start the next nightmare.
Right.
So then you get out of it and you start to look around and, you're like a mole coming out of its hole for the first time. You blink 3 times and try and look and everything's too bright for a minute.
And you realize you've got these enormous claws for no reason.
Right. Weird nose. And then you realize, well, what the fuck am I going to do with myself?
Right.
And so I wanted to bring forth a few suggestions for those who haven't quite found it, who haven't quite figured it out. And for even for people who think they have a good handle on it, right. As I was researching this, I thought to myself, I'm going to change a few things about my Sundays. Because I can use it better. I, professional Sunday guy that I am, could do a better Sunday.
Well, listen, I will say that you and I and our 2 wing persons, our spouses, have made some pretty splendid Sundays together.
Oh, we do it up well.
We have enjoyed some glorious Sunday mornings together, but I feel like what you're insinuating is we could do better.
I think we could. Could.
Let's dive in.
Well, let's start basic and work our way to the more complex. First thing everyone needs to learn, and I think this is really sort of universally important, is brunch.
Okay. I thought you were going to start with getting over the guilt, but let's just go right. Let's go right to brunch.
Okay. You know what? The thing that will help you the most is if you learn that day drinking is part of what Sunday is meant to be about. Now, some of the Christians have this right. They do a little bit of the wine at the sacrament, but they're not doing it right. So learn your brunch drink of choice. You might be a bloody person. You might be a mimosa person. You might have some other thing. But figure out your brunch drink of choice and then get your brunch on. If you eat before 10 on a Sunday, you're doing it wrong.
Right. And if you finish up in half an hour, you're doing it wrong.
Oh yeah, brunch takes hours. Brunch is not it's a slow and joyful meal.
Here's what I'd say: if you were a Mormon or many other dismal religious affiliations, your church was what, Dan? 3 hours minimum if you didn't have a job, if you didn't have like a church position,
right?
So approach brunch similarly. Right?
Yeah.
You are taking back your life one brunch at a time.
Right. Your communion is now Eggs Benedict. So take it seriously, believe in it, invite friends. You can do it at your favorite brunch restaurant. Try several. Or you can do it at home hosting, take turns with your buddies and everybody, make up a fruit plate and get sloshed.
Yep.
So that's
day drinking.
That's step one. We're phasing into glorious Sundayhood. But I mean, if there's one thing that we can take from gay culture, it's the sanctity of brunch.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we all owe you a debt of gratitude. All you and your gay brethren and sistren.
You're welcome.
From there, I think here's the deal. I actually love the idea of a day of rest. A day that is not that we don't give to the problems of the work week. We keep it for ourselves. And we don't have to throw the baby away with the bathwater when we leave religion. We can take what's good about it and maybe even make it better. And I think this is something we can improve on.
Agreed. And I think this is one moment, and it's the only one I can think of, Dan, where we can look to rules of the Old Testament and say, yeah, good call. Because it is literally called for a day of rest. Now, as you mentioned, most religious denominations that use Sunday as a Sabbath, it really isn't a day of rest. It's a day of servitude and a day of drudgery. But it's the idea of a day of no fucking plans. The idea of a day of just kicking back, reading the paper, not reading the paper. You want to watch Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you fucking do it. That is beautiful.
And if you want to watch it again at 4, go ahead.
Exactly. And day drink, or go for a bike ride, or go see your friends, or do nothing.
So here's where I want to take this idea. What we're talking about is making this a day for you. Yeah. And I think that may be one of the most important mental health things that a person could do. And I want to sharpen that point a little bit by saying, take some time. This is an excellent time to don't just do all the things that your id tells you to do. Don't just do the things that make you happy, but also take some time, just 10 minutes every Sunday, and spend some time working on you, understanding who you are. Because really, if we're going to be devotional to ourselves, and I think that making our Sabbath day the day of our devotion, devote it to you. But if you're going to do that, let's do it right. Let's get in there and learn who we are. So, because let me tell you something. When I left church, when I left religion, now granted, I was at an age when nobody really knows who they are. I was 18 or whatever. But people come out of religion, and suddenly you're a new person. You're not just product of a magic daddy in the sky and slave also to that same daddy. You're now your own boss.
You're not a cog in the machine where maybe there was comfort in that machine, maybe there was community in that machine, and there obviously there can be a sense of loss when you leave that community and that machine. But what I think Uncle Dan is talking about here is there is also this incredible potential, and Sunday is the day where you may be able to carve out the space to dream of that potential, right? And to take a swim in it, and
That's absolutely right.
And to feel the potential that you have.
So, I'm going to make some small suggestions. You do you how you're going to do you, but I'm just going to throw a few things out. I read a few things online, and I liked a few of the suggestions. You can literally, I'm a big fan of journaling. I don't always do it. I go through periods where I actually write in a journal a lot, and I go through periods where I don't. But I learned so much about myself through journaling. And here's if you don't want, if that sounds too much, listen, try this. Every Sunday, set aside 10 minutes and make a list. Just make a list about who you are. Start with small items, 5 to 7 things you like. Just write down a few things you like. Then, make the next one places you want to visit. And make the next one books that you love. And the next one games that you've played that you love. And just literally all you're doing is writing out who you are, You're writing
Yeah.
out little lists of things about you. Maybe you expand it as it gets more, as you get deeper into it, you talk about your political views. You make a list of things, social views that you have, hobbies that you like, career goals that you might have.
Right.
And then reflect on it just a little bit. Just ask yourself, is this really me, or was this what I was taught to like? Is this really what I'm about, or is this what Jesus told me to be?
And this is in addition to, obviously, the 10 minutes to constantly keep the enemies list updated. I get it. Okay, good. So on top of that, there's a dream board.
I'm assuming that the enemies list is just updated regularly throughout the week. That's something that needs constant maintenance.
It's a window open on my laptop all the time.
Right, exactly. So once you get going with that, here's another possible suggestion. What you're doing is you're asking yourself questions. What makes you feel happy? What makes you feel tense or upset? Think about going out with your friends. Think about staying in with your friends. Think about all these things and learn who the fuck you are. I don't want to beat the dead horse there, but here's the other thing. Spend another 20 minutes. So far, I'm only taking up half an hour of your time. Spend another 20 minutes just calming your damned mind. I don't know if that's guided meditation with, the help of one of a billion apps out there that can help you with a guided meditation. I find that useful. Maybe you do some yoga. Maybe it's just coffee out on the porch, or even coffee alone in your favorite coffee shop. I just think alone time is very important. I think you time is very important. If you've got access to a pool, lay out by it. The Japanese have a concept called Shinrin Yoku, which is basically just sort of taking a long walk or a hike in the woods. And I think a lot of people can love that. They call it like bathing, like forest bathing or something like that. Or just cuddle with your pet.
Yeah,
like
listen, one of my favorite things, and I'm, Uncle Dan knows I have a very active mind, and I'm very busy all the time, and I always try to keep a lot of irons in the fire. But one of my greatest pleasures in life, when I remember to allow myself to do it, is sitting on my little back patio and just watching my cats. Just watching my cats enjoy the heat of the afternoon in total bliss is a drug. It's just amazing to allow myself that simple pleasure that I could allow myself anytime, but I don't. And I kind of have to remind myself to do it. And when I do, it just kind of fills the coffers. It's a beautiful moment.
It's the truth. Human beings, I think we've discovered this on this show, are stupid creatures. And the things that most feed us, that most give us joy, sometimes are the things that we have to actually force ourselves to do.
Right.
So I highly recommend carving out this space, and Sunday's a great day to do it. You don't have to take the whole day, but carve out space to be you, and to learn how to be you as fully and as deeply and as beautifully as you can learn to do it.
Well, Dan, a lot of feedback and a lot of kind of requests we get via, people contacting us. And it's something that I think we need to continue to discuss many more times going forward.
Yeah, we'll have to come back to this.
Not only Sunday, but I think this Sunday discussion is a great place to introduce this question, is people saying, I lost a lot of community and I'm trying to find a place to rebuild that community. We talked about it with No Illusions on his show for a little bit. But I think Sunday's a great opportunity. So Sunday dinner, which in many American Christian households certainly is a very important, family time or community time, that may be a sense of loss. Now, we've already covered brunch. We've already covered you're going to have a mimosa, you're going to have a Bloody Mary, you're going to be with your friends, it's going to be fabulous. But dinner time maybe is a slightly different time. And so I think you have to make a conscious effort to take back that if you're feeling a sense of loss or a sense of emptiness, how can we as skeptics or people who've left this, the world of superstition, how can we rebuild something as important as Sunday night used to be for ourselves?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the challenge. And is it that you decide every Sunday night we're going to the movies? Every Sunday night I'm going to my favorite restaurant. Every Sunday night I'm inviting a new group of friends over to watch a movie.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera. I think it's incumbent on us not to just mourn the loss of community. It's incumbent on us to create a new one, however hard that seems.
And, you can do that by also joining a hiking group or joining a biking, a cycling group, or find a group. And Sunday, a lot of these things meet on Sundays because everybody's sort of free on the weekends. If you find a group of motorcycle enthusiasts and you can start to make friends that way. You can even go to, and this is I find this fascinating. I don't go regularly, but I've been to there are these groups like Oasis and what's the name of another one? Anyway, there are these Sunday meeting groups that are atheist themed groups, but basically it's church replacement. And
you're talking about Secular Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can go to these groups. Most major cities have them now. If you don't live in a major city, you can drive to one if it's worth it to you. And these groups meet and discuss science and discuss amazing things. And they usually they get good speakers and they have a lot of fun and they build community that way. So there are people who miss the ritual of a Sunday, sort of meeting, and there are even replacements for that.
Right.
So I think that's lovely.
I also think that there are, we've had a ton of how-tos, Dan, about different things that were denied to you, about exploring different things that were denied to you when you were religious, and so if you're in the process of building community or building a new tribe, as our friend Paige says, like making lists or exploring yourself on Sunday, maybe the evening time is a great time to explore, some of the things that were forbidden when you were in religion. So
sure.
A fun way to think of it is, okay, it's the seventh day, explore the 7 deadly sins. Even if that's reading a book, even if that's if Harry Potter was forbidden, you know what? On Sunday evenings, pick it up.
I love it.
If whatever was forbidden to you, don't hesitate to explore it. And
spend 3 hours looking at porn and masturbating. Have some fun.
Or exactly. The rest of the week you're going to be possessed with making a living and, doing the chores you have to do to kind of get by. But if you have the time to carve out, to allow yourself the freedom that was denied to you, what better use of a Sunday than that?
Yeah. I mean, what we're doing is and reprogramming our brains. You know what I mean? You gotta change the synapses somehow, because all of that religion has gotten you into some terrible neural patterns, and we have to get ourselves out. So you got to challenge those things. You got to do something that replaces it, and you might as well be like conscious of that, and don't just do what happens, but be aware and choose the way that you're going to live that Sunday. And if you do it with purpose, you'll have a much better day of it. A much better life of it.
Totally agreed. And I think so much religion is obviously, at base very fear-based. It's very much scaring you. It's I've been reading our friend Chris Stroop's Twitter feed, and there's all this, terror of hell and phony Christian facts about the world. And you're now in a place, if you have Sundays off and you have some space and you have some ability, you now have a minute during the week to look at the things that scared you and to challenge yourself and confront these fears. And I think you'll find in so many cases they were things that you had no reason to be afraid of at all. You know what? Listen to an AC/DC album. Do some, even if you think it's silly. And I think this goes back to Dan's, kind of diary thing. Pick one dumb thing from your youth when you were at Bible camp and they told you it was sinful and horrible, and do it for fun, and you will probably amuse the shit out of yourself, and that will be healing. Yeah, you know what? Look, you're now in the world where science is how we discover the world now, because we're not listening to the prophets of the Bronze Age. So, hey, do some experiments. Try some shit. Even if it's stupid, obviously you're not going to, don't hurt anybody, but, fuck it, try, stick your finger in your ass. It doesn't matter. No, exactly. You're fine. It's just try something. Rent the horror movie that your pastor told you was the gateway to hell. Rent, Halloween 5. Rent whatever it is. And watch it and listen to the music, eat the food, drink the thing. And I think that's a really fun, if you're looking for a replacement for the time commitment that Sunday used to be, that could be a very hilarious way to do it. And that's delightful. Get some friends over and get a Ouija board and light some candles. Exactly. Smoke a clove cigarette, and really kind of make a thing out of it, because as we've said many times on this show, there is almost no better medicine. Well, first, probably medicine, but after actual medicine, there's no better medicine for the hurt you were caused in religion than laughing at what used to hurt you. So, and believe me, you will clear those hurdles so much faster if you just confront it, laugh at it, own it, and sit what better day to do it than Sunday? And fart on it. Oh my God, Dan, we're going to edit that out because that is of a sexual nature. I don't think it is. I think this is the first of many, many, many chats about how to Sunday. And I would love to hear from our listeners. So hit us up on email or at howtoheretic.com or howtoheretic@gmail.com, or talk to me on Twitter at howtoheretic, and kind of tell us about how you have, or if you have, taken back Sunday, because I think it's a big deal. Yeah, and I'm just going to correct one thing, because our email address is nothing to do with howtoheretic@gmail.com, but actually it's howto@howtoheretic.com. So I just want to be accurate with it. Although we probably do have that Gmail account too, but I want to make sure that we receive all these great suggestions. Anyway, send it to the one Dan said. And let's hear from you, and get out there and have an awesome Sunday, will you? Yep, it's the 7th day, and you have been commanded to rest, so you better fucking do it. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Well, friends, that's it for this week's show. Yeah, and what a show it was. Hey, we'd love to hear from you. How are you going to violate yourself this Sunday? Send us an email at howtoheretic.com. Or if you've ever ruined a city with a trumpet just to save a prostitute, let us know about it on leaving us a voicemail at 903-88-HOW-TO, which is 903-884-6986. And you can yell at me on Twitter at howtoheretic. Right. Hey, thanks again to our patrons and those who are willing to leave us a 5-star review on your various places. And thanks to Cody Layton for editing the show. And thank all of you for tuning in. We sure do appreciate you. And from the wilderness of Canada, okay, bye.